Good evening. Today is Monday, May 12th, and the Public Safety Commission meeting is now called to order. We begin to acknowledge that the land on which we gather, that is currently known as the city of West Hollywood, is the occupied, unceded, seized territory of the Gabrielino Tongva and the Gabrielino Kritz people. Now for the Pledge of Allegiance. Commissioner Saltzman, will you lead us, please? Please rise and put your right hand over your heart.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Now to our next item, which is a very exciting item, will be the oath of office for our two remaining commissioners. Mayor Pro Tem Erickson.
All right. Oh, wait. Is this on? Nope. Now it is. Great. All right. Adam, come on down. Huh? All right. We're going to read it together. Raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Adam Aramian,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that while serving in the office
that while serving in the office
as a member
as a member
of the Public Safety Commission
of the Public Safety Commission
of the City of West Hollywood,
of the City of West Hollywood,
that I will support and defend
that I will support and defend
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of California,
and the Constitution of the State of California,
that I bear true faith and allegiance
that I bear true faith and allegiance
to the Constitution of the United States
to the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of California,
and the Constitution of the State of California,
that I take this obligation freely
that I take this obligation freely
without any mental reservation
without any mental reservation
or purpose of evasion,
or purpose of evasion,
and that I will well and faithfully
and that I will well and faithfully
discharge the duties
discharge the duties
upon which I'm about to enter.
upon which I am about to enter.
Congratulations, Commissioner.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. So, here you go. So that's for you. And then, all right, Brandon, come on up. Ready?
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. Raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Brandon John Blau,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that while serving in the office
that while serving in the
as
office
a member of the Public Safety Commission
as a member of the Public Safety
of
Commission
the City of West Hollywood,
of the City of West Hollywood,
that I will support and defend
that I will support and defend
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United
and
States
the Constitution of the State of California,
and the Constitution of the State of California,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance
that I will bear true faith and
to
allegiance
the Constitution of the United States
to the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of California,
and the Constitution of the State of California,
that I take this obligation freely
that I take this obligation freely
without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion,
without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion,
and that I will well and faithfully
and that I will well and faithfully
discharge the duties
discharge the duties
upon which I'm about to enter.
upon which I'm about to enter.
Congratulations, Commissioner.
Thank you.
And then here you go. That's for you, and then I'll give this back over. Have a good meeting.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. Roll call. Commission Secretary, can I get a roll call, please?
Commissioner Blau? Commissioner Aramian? Commissioner Freiberg? Commissioner Harrison? Commissioner Nickel? Commissioner Saltzman?
Here.
Chair Hallman?
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. Item 5 is the approval of the agenda. Are there any changes to tonight's agenda for June 12th, 2023? Can I get a motion to approve the agenda?
I move approval of the agenda.
All right, can I get a second, please? Thank you. Commission Secretary, can I please get a roll call?
Commissioner Blau? Commissioner Ramian?
Present.
Commissioner Freiberg? Commissioner Harrison? Commissioner Nickel? Commissioner Saltzman?
Aye.
Chair Hallman?
Aye.
The agenda is approved.
Thank you. Item 6 is approval of the minutes. The agenda needs to be approved, or are there any changes from our minutes, or rather our minutes from our May 8th meeting? Do any commissioners have any changes? Can I get a motion to approve the agenda, please?
So moved.
Second?
Thank you. And Commission Secretary, can I once again get a roll call?
Commissioner Blau? Commissioner Ramian?
Aye.
Commissioner Freiberg? Commissioner Harrison?
Aye.
Commissioner Nickel? Commissioner Saltzman?
Aye.
Chair Hallman?
Aye.
The minutes are approved.
Thank you. We are at public comments. Before we do our public comments, I just want to welcome our 2 new commissioners to the dais. We are now full body, finally, so welcome, everyone. Public comments, Commission Secretary, do we have any comments in chambers?
Yes, we do have one public comment in chambers. Steve Martin, if you want to come to the podium, you'll have 3 minutes to speak.
Well, good evening, commissioners. Get seasick. This is very exciting. I don't think we've had a commission that's had so many new people on it since we started the commission back in '84. But like the commission in '84, you're not really new. There's a lot of experience up here. And I really appreciate the fact that you're all willing to come in right now when there's so many controversies and there's so many challenges, and come in and put in the time to make West Hollywood safer. This is a really good time for you to be involved, and I'm excited that you're here. And I think that there's some great diversity here, which is really necessary for us to get good policies. And so welcome. The other thing I want to bring up is this weekend's going to be a dragged story hour at the West Hollywood Library. And last April, we had one, and there was an incident where someone who was trying to disrupt the reading was assaulted by a member of the opposition. Let's put it that way. My feeling on that is that West Hollywood's supposed to be a safe place for everybody. It's a safe place for the queer community, the gay community, for women, for immigrants, for lots of people. But we also have to be a safe space for free speech. And violence really can't be part of the equation here in West Hollywood. It doesn't work. Violence begets violence. And we need to make sure that this time that we have, whether it's through monitoring or just through law enforcement presence, that we have an ability for people to speak their piece peaceably and to avoid confrontation. And I know that's a tall order because there's a lot of emotion going on here. But it's our job to be leaders, not to simply be reactive. And I hope that, I don't know if Captain Muller's going to be here, but I have talked to him about it. And that's just one other thing on your work list. So anyway, good luck, and I really appreciate all your time. Thanks.
Commission Secretary, do we have any public comments in Zoom?
So, Chair, we actually do have a number that we just admitted to Zoom, and so we'll transition over to Zoom now to see whether or not the phone number that called in would like to participate at this time. So the number ending in 3468, if you could please press *6 to unmute yourself. You'll have 3 minutes to speak if you'd like to do so at this time. And if so, please state your name, and then you would be able to begin speaking. Again, press *6, and you would have 3 minutes to speak if you'd like to comment at this time.
Hi, good evening, Commissioners. My name is Danny Hang, and I'm a resident of West Hollywood. I just wanted to say my congratulations to Commissioners Brandon and RM, the Public Safety Commission. Both will do excellent work for the city, so congratulations. Thank you.
Thank you, Danny. Chair, there's no further speakers at this time.
Okay, and again, no additional speakers in chambers. Great, thank you. Item number 8 on the agenda, Commissioner comments. It was moved to the top of the meeting to give commissioners the opportunity to maybe present things, events they had attended, maybe make other comments. We used to do it at the top and at the end of the meeting. But in our bylaws, we do it once. So a show of hands, as a commission, where you would like to keep it. Do we want to keep it at the top or put it at the end of the meeting? I'm very open to this. I don't have a dog in this fight, so who wants to keep it at the top? And the bottom? Okay. Of course.
Say of comments of, what you have to say, as I'm repeating myself. But I feel like it just allows us to hear everything during the meeting, and then we can make comments. If we do it at the top, then we have nothing to say at the end, and then everything happens, and then we leave out public comment as well, because there's more public comment coming. So we want to be considerate of their comments as well. So I think, just like City Council, it'd be a good move to put it at the end.
Okay. Thank you. I appreciate that. Are we still in consensus that we want to keep it at the top?
I will change my vote.
Chair, I'm sorry. I know we're having some difficulties. If folks can just make sure that you have your microphone on, the light should turn red, and then just make sure you get as close as you can when you're speaking. Thank you.
I'll change my vote to the bottom.
I will do the same.
I'll also do the same.
Well, thank you.
All right.
Does this mean two comment sections, or one at the top and bottom? Or
One.
just
No, only
at the bottom?
one.
Okay,
It'll
great.
be at
Okay.
the end.
One shebang at the end.
Yeah. All right. You were quite persuasive. Thank you.
Thanks.
Item 9 on our agenda are our monthly reports. First up is our fire chief. Where is he? Hello, good evening. And also, before our chief starts, commissioners, just remember when it comes to questions for each agency, we're allowing 4 minutes per commissioner. Director Rivas will keep a loose timing of it, and the reason why we made this decision was so we could keep our meeting going. If you are in a conversation or questions that require more attention, the chair can approve that. And also, if you have a question that you would like to propose, please key it into the computer, and I will call on you accordingly. All right, Chief, thank you.
All right.
Great to see you. Good evening.
So welcome to the new commissioners. I'm Drew Smith, the Assistant Fire Chief for Division 7. So I represent West Hollywood as your fire chief, and the Los Angeles County Fire Department loves being the fire department in West Hollywood. So I feel that everybody else feels the same as well. So your fire family is doing good. We're motivated and healthy, and I will get into May's report. So just for a little background, your 2 fire stations in West Hollywood, we have 21 members there that serve 24/7 with 3 different shifts. and 2 fire stations. One's at San Vicente, just up from Santa Monica Boulevard, and the other one's down at Santa Monica Boulevard, cross of, let's say, how do I give you the exact location? I don't have it off the top of my head. So it's on the east side of the city. It'll come to me, though. Now, with your May report, I didn't see anything out of the ordinary. We're still averaging approximately 20 runs within the city of West Hollywood, and we had a total of, for May, 10 fires. We had a total of 450 medical calls and 119 which required advanced life support, 218 which required basic life support, and we transported 337 patients to the hospital. We had 0 hazmat calls. We had 4 hazardous conditions calls. We had a total of 13 service calls. And service calls are those that somebody needs a little help with something. So I'll give you, what does a service call look like? Water heater broke, locked out of my apartment type of stuff, or some other type of non-emergency, I guess you could say, but it's emergency to that person, so it's deemed as a service call rather than a medical emergency or a fire. And then a good intent call, 143 of those. And good intent calls are somebody saw something, they reported to 911, and when we got there, it wasn't as what was described. So those would be good intent calls. So we go to any type of 911 call, and we go evaluate and do what is in best practice to meet the needs of the emergency. And just since we're off of even though it's for June, but I'll talk about Pride. Real quick, highlighted numbers, and we'll get some exacts. We had a total of approximately 60 runs that affected the West Hollywood area, 30 of those which were event-related with 2 transports to the hospital, and 30 runs or calls that were medical in nature, and 30 of those, and only 12 of those required transport. So just as an overview for Pride, the way that we carved it out in unified command with the sheriffs is that we wanted to maintain the public service to the community, and then we also needed to maintain a presence and render aid at the festival. So we carved them out in 2 different ways. So we had adequate coverage for West Hollywood with the big event that went on with Pride, but also everybody outside of the event still needs their customer delivery as well. So that's it for me for May. Is there any questions for me?
I don't see that anyone has keyed anything into the system, but with that
There's
being
gotta be
said,
one.
does anyone?
Gotta
Yes.
There, I knew it.
Yeah.
See?
Go ahead,
I
Commissioner.
couldn't get my button to work quick enough.
Go ahead.
I just wanted to, was there any update on the May 23rd possible arson, the fence covering fires?
So we don't have any arson reported. I'll talk about the fires that we have. All of the fires that we had were outdoor in nature except for one, which was in a storage container area. So within the city of West Hollywood, we get a significant amount of outdoor type fires, whether it be into a rubbish, whether it be trash in a dumpster. We get a lot of those. We've talked about those for the 3 years that I've been here. So we don't have any reported arson that's going on in the city. I know there is elevated news within the proximal area to that, but we don't have anything reported now within the city of West Hollywood as far as arson.
Okay, and then the other thing I wanted to ask, and I know, Danny, you might want to chime in, is getting a key definition legend for the categories. Because it's like, when I see a category that says minor injury or major injury, that could be anything. Oh, here we go again with this thing. So
Okay.
is there any way that we can get that, or should we just figure this out on our own?
So it depends on how deep you want to dig into it. So
The light definition of each of these things.
Yeah,
You know,
we
and it's
can-
not only for us, it's for them as well.
Sure.
You know?
So we can give a category of major and minor medical emergencies. We can come up with that for you.
Well, I mean, all of them.
Hmm?
Like all of them that sound, you know, so this way everybody knows what they are. Well, yeah, okay, minor and major. I don't have my glasses on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that might be it, actually.
Okay,
Okay. Thank you.
we can do that. You bet.
Commissioner Nickel.
Yes, I just wanted to say that I had the opportunity to do a ride along with Station 7.
Oh,
I'd
good.
previously done 8, and Captain Bull and his team were amazing. And it was the same with 8. They had a really amazing camaraderie, and everyone, they were very excited to be here and to serve West Hollywood. And they had a really nice rivalry going on between the two stations
Oh,
as
yes.
well. So,
That's, we like that.
yeah, I just wanted to say that.
Yeah,
Again, thank you so much.
Yeah, the districts on, with 8's being at Santa Monica Boulevard and Spalding over there, and then at San Vicente, so they have their own jurisdictional areas, but when they're out and about, if somebody's closer, even though it's somebody else's area, they go, ooh. And yeah, so it's kind of that kind of customer service delivery with being efficient like that, even though they cross each other's jurisdictional boundary, is competitive for them.
But there was one call where there were members from both stations, and they worked together flawlessly. So
Oh,
it was
they
just
do.
very good to see.
Absolutely. Yes. Thank you for that. I'm glad you had a good time.
Commissioners, any other additional questions for our fire chief?
Is it showing up that I've asked?
You just popped up, yes. Go ahead.
Just general thoughts. How did you feel about this year in comparison to other years when Pride has happened? Not specific, just generally.
Yeah, no. So one good thing that the city of West Hollywood has is the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department and the Los Angeles County Fire Department. Because even though we had only 60-ish runs, if you will, the way that we build out for an event to happen is what you need. So the unified command structure that we have, the sheriffs and the intel sharing that goes on, is paramount when you have mass gatherings, because we need adequate support for the festival, but we also have to think at a 30 to 50,000 foot level on the event. So the city of West Hollywood is very fortunate in that way because of the depth that the county itself has. So I can say, and I'll even speak for the sheriffs, and we feel really good about this year's event. And it went, actually the call volume in the city for the 3 days was actually down as compared to what it was when the event happened, so which is nice. So I feel very good about how the event was and the orchestration behind that and the communication that we have with the West Hollywood team is phenomenal. So that's a great question, and we feel really good about being there for you. I think Danny feels the same way, because he would tell me if he didn't.
Any other questions for our chief, commissioners? All right, sir. I think you are off the hook.
All right. Well, thank you. Reach out if you need something, or we're open 24/7, so please reach out.
And it's always a pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Item 9B, report from the Los Angeles Sheriff's Department. I believe will be given by Sergeant Duran. And I would like to welcome Lieutenant Lapkin back. We have missed you. Welcome back.
Good evening. Welcome to the new commissioners. We would just like to start off by just kind of giving you just a brief overview of our special teams here at West Hollywood Station. I know some of you new to the commission may not have an idea as to what some of us do here and what the teams do here. My name is Sergeant Jason Duran. I oversee the special teams here at West Hollywood Station. Those consist of our daytime team, which is called our COPS team, community-oriented policing and problem-solving team. That's a team of 5 deputies that work during daytime hours, and they deal with anything from community issues to public relations, city-directed tasks, events, things like that. Basically anything that's directed that's needed to be attended to, or special problems within the city. I also oversee our EPT team, which is Entertainment Policing Team. Their primary goal and function is to handle bar and club-related incidents here in the city of West Hollywood. That's a team of 5 deputies, and they work nights, primarily weekends. Their focus directing, again, is the bars and the clubs and incidents that happen there. They work as liaisons with us, with the department, working with those locations to try to better the safety for the residents, the customers, and everybody that's in that area at night. Real quickly, we'll go into our May data for 2023. So for the month of May, this West Hollywood Station personnel responded to 1,681 calls for service, with 88 of those calls being an emergency response. During this month, deputies made 63 felony arrests and 145 misdemeanor arrests. West Hollywood Station Part 1 crime is down for the month of May with 215 incidents compared to May of 2022 that had 281. Part 1 crime broken down by areas of the city. The West District of the city, 58% of those Part 1 crimes occurred there, a total of 125. City Center accounted for 12%, 26 total incidents. And the East District, 30%, 64 total incidents. In comparison to last year, the West District was down about 36%, Center was down about 39%, and the East was up about 56%. Our overall crime numbers were contributed to theft-related incidents, grand theft, petty theft, vehicle burglaries. That was the majority of the Part 1 crimes in the month of May. Our East End theft numbers have been driven up by retail theft recently. There's a location on the East End that's been targeted by thieves quite a bit, and our detectives and special teams have been working with the staff at that location to try to combat crime and reduce those numbers. During the month of May, there were 37 pickpocket incidents. All of these involved cell phones or other personal items taken from victims that were at a nightlife venue in the Rainbow District. Catalytic converter thefts showed a drastic decrease in the month of May. We only had 5 thefts for the month of May compared to last month where there were 25. We have continued interest from the public in doing another etching event to try to prevent and deter this type of crime. We currently are in the works of trying to plan an etching event for the beginning of July. We had 7 residential burglaries for the month of May. Grand theft auto or stolen vehicles incidents for the month of May was 6, which is a 70% decrease from last year at this time. There were 2 reported rapes in the month of May. Both incidents, the perpetrator was known to the victim. I can't share too much more data on that. As I explained before, anything to do with a sexual assault type of nature, we're limited as to what we can share. Our COPS and EPT teams continue to conduct weekly operations based on crime trends, as well as unhoused outreach within the city. As a response to the East End theft at a retail location, the teams have spent numerous hours conducting footbeat patrols in and around that location. These additional patrols have resulted in catching thieves in the act. As a response to the increased pickpocket theft, our EPT team conducted an undercover operation just this past weekend. As a result of their hard work, the deputies made 6 arrests and recovered 18 stolen cell phones just in this past weekend. As part of that operation, our deputies contact bar and club management and staff to keep them aware of the continuing incidents of pickpocketing. They also provided information to help those businesses in deterring that type of crime and asked for any feedback that they needed to help deter that type of crime within those businesses. Traffic-related incidents. There were 6 DUI arrests in the month of May, 3 of which involved traffic collisions. There were no reported scooter or e-bike incidents in the month of May. Some notable crimes that occurred in May. On May 7th at 2:59 a.m., there was an incident that occurred at the intersection of Santa Monica and San Vicente. A suspect was driving a silver Mini Cooper and hit 3 pedestrians with his vehicle. At the time, he was speeding away from an argument that occurred in the crosswalk. All 3 victims had minor injuries. This incident did make local media, and it's still currently under investigation. On May 16th at 5:05 in the morning, there was a smash and grab robbery that occurred on the 8400 block of Sunset Boulevard at a local business. A window was smashed and a large group of suspects entered the location, taking numerous items from the store. West Hollywood detectives have made an arrest in this case and have an ongoing investigation that may lead to additional arrests. There's also been some recent inquiries at the station and media attention regarding a dog poisoning incident that occurred here in West Hollywood. Our detectives, along with animal control, are currently investigating those incidents and those reports. That concludes our information for the month of May, and I'm open to any questions you may have.
Thank you, Sergeant Duran. Commissioner Harrison.
That was an old request.
Okay. Commissioner Adam. Aramian, you know, and I know it's Aramian, and I'm not going to hear the end of this.
Sergeant Duran, first I want to say thank you for your entire team at the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department for everything that you guys do. I just have a quick question in regards to, I'm just trying to understand the chart. I see calls for service and I see observations. What's the difference between the calls for service and observations?
So a call for service is when a person in the community, whoever, resident, business, whatever that person is, calls the station and calls us for a reason to have us come out. It could be anything. It could be reporting a crime. It could be reporting suspicious activity, whatever that is. That would be a call for service. It's a call from somebody coming into the station. An observation, that is a self-initiated work from the deputies that are out in the field, for example, like a traffic stop, something of that nature.
Thank you.
Commissioner Blau.
Hi, thank you. So we had Pride 2 weekends ago, and I know that that'll be part of June, so I won't harp on it too much, but can you give any highlights? And then there's one particular issue that I want to talk about with it.
Also, Commissioner, can you just get a little closer to the mic?
Yeah, absolutely.
There
Whoa,
you
that was
are.
so loud. Okay, there we go. Understood.
I don't have all the Pride data quite yet. Just briefly, there was approximately 16 arrests citywide for that weekend, which isn't anything significant. We didn't have any significant crime incidents within the Pride Festival, but I don't have broken down numbers yet compiled for Pride. It'll be part of the package next month.
Okay, and if you compared it relatively to last year's Pride, if you can kind of think about the relative incidents.
It's hard to compare because I don't have the data in front of me yet. However, based on last year's Pride being a smaller footprint and this year being a larger one, I'm sure the number of incidents and contacts will be up. But again, I don't have that data quite yet compiled, so I don't really have anything to compare it to. But based on the size of Pride this year and the amount of people that attended, I wouldn't doubt that there's an up, compared to everything.
Great, thank you. And then the last question. So there was a incident that I became aware of as it circulated around on social media and then around on some like local blogs about a arrest that happened during the Pride Festival setup. I think it was actually ended up being 2 arrests. Can you maybe talk about that in general?
So I can't speak too much on it because it is a continuing investigation that's going on surrounding that.
Okay.
That incident was caught on video and posted to numerous avenues of social media. What that arrest was there is a warrant for a felony suspect that was seen at the location. Deputies put together a plan for an arrest, approached that person and made the arrest within the footprint of the festival. During the time of that arrest, there was a second person that inserted themselves with what was going on with the arrest. So that person was also arrested, and that person was charged with obstructing because they basically interfered with the arrest of the felony suspect that was wanted.
Great, understood. Thank you very much. I really appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Commissioner Freeberg.
Hello, thank you for your presentation. Just a couple questions. So when something happens outside the city limits, like right on the line, do they give you the information, the other, like LAPD or Beverly Hills Police Department? Do they give you information that something just happened?
So it just depends on the nature of the incident. Not every incident's going to be reported. So some of the minor stuff is probably not going to be reported to us, even though it's close by. However, report tracking and report data will eventually get shared via like our crime analysis unit. Generally, major incidents or serious incidents get shared immediately. So for example, if Beverly Hills had a robbery that was just outside of our area, they would call over to us immediately and have us either looking out for a suspect, for example, or just give us that information that that crime occurred. Sometimes we'll see LAPD in the area and we'll contact them on our own at the station to find out what's going on. It just varies, but we do get that information for major incidents quite quickly.
Okay, so if someone got mugged literally a street over, would they tell you about that?
Typically they would if it was something that just occurred.
Okay. What about your volunteer program? Can you tell us a little bit about it? Like how many people you have, what they actually do all day?
So we do have an active volunteer program. I believe there's probably right around 20 or so active volunteers. They do a wide variety of different things at the station. One of the aspects of the volunteer program is called VOP, Volunteers on Patrol. That's where 2 volunteers would be in a marked sheriff's vehicle. It's not a black and white vehicle like you see the deputies driving. It's a white vehicle that clearly says Volunteers on Patrol. And they basically act as an additional eyes and ears out there in the public while engaging with the community and businesses and whatnot. Some of the other options or details that the volunteers are able to do is that they man our front desk at the sheriff's station, where they greet people coming in that may need a report, may need to speak to somebody, whatever the contact is, and they take information and give it over to our dispatch or our desk personnel. Some of the other volunteers do some specialized things for us with helping with programs and special things at the station. It just varies, but most of the volunteers are either front desk or volunteers on patrol.
Oh, okay. I didn't know anything about the patrols. That's interesting. Okay, the other thing I wanted to know, let's say there's a theft in let's say my building, and they're breaking into cars. Whose responsibility is it, or is it nobody's responsibility to tell residents in that building that there are, robberies going on?
So generally, the sheriff's department wouldn't notify other residents of something like that. You might see something or hear something on some of the apps that are available, things like Citizen, that might make somebody aware of those type of incidents. However, us as a department, we don't go door to door telling people for crimes such as that. Mainly because it can be construed in a negative way, where a building manager might then come and complain to us and say, hey, why are you making my residents feel unsafe? Something like that. It would be more falling upon the property owner to make that notification to their residents there.
But they're not required to tell anybody?
I don't believe there's any requirement. I can't really speak on 100%, but I don't believe there's a
Danny?
requirement.
No? Okay.
No, there's no requirement.
Can I just interject just real quick? I mean, one of the things that we're working on is our social media platforms to try and notify. So again, we are trying to get with the times, to try and notify people of things that are occurring. So whether it be crime trends, whether it be an incident that just happened, be on the lookout, be aware. This is why the helicopters are overhead. We're working on trying to get we don't have a full-time public information officer, but we're working on that. I know the city is in the process of getting 2 civilian positions, but we're working on trying to do that so that we could be more connected with our community. So we could tell them, be aware, don't leave things in your car. The residents are getting broken into by this gate, and whatever the reasons are, we will try to give general information. But there's also one thing that I know the cops team does is that they go to the apartments, they go to businesses, and they do a threat assessment. So we can go and say, okay, because you have high brush here, you don't have a well-lit area, this lock is broken, we can come in and give you an assessment so that the apartment complex, a business, the resident, it could be a single-family dwelling, that we can do that for them as well. So we're working on trying to get our social media out there so that we can actually stay connected with our residents.
Okay, thank you. And one more question. There was an incident in my building, and one of the residents was walking her dog going down the elevator, and her dog is, he's a big guy. And she usually doesn't like anyone in the elevator because then he's going to grab the food, he's going to do whatever. So she asked the delivery person to just wait, let me just go down first, I'll send the elevator right up. And he got so livid about this. So after she went out, she knew that he was unstable. Like, she could tell by his reaction, it was just way too out there. So she waited, and he's not coming out. And so she didn't want to go back in. And then eventually, somehow he got out of the building, drove by and called her a racist bitch. So she goes back to her apartment, and she sees on her door, he spit all over her door. He spit all over her dog's toys. He spit over everything. And then when she looked at her camera, she saw that he went back to her apartment 3 times to do this. And so she called the police. She called the sheriff's department. They said there was an emergency happening, and we can't get anyone there. It's probably going to take hours. So she was left alone for hours. And I'm wondering why no one had notified block by block. Why didn't somebody come sit with her? What happens with, where was the breakdown there?
Typically, we wouldn't take it upon ourselves to notify block by block necessarily for something like that, unless the person maybe requested that somebody come sit with her. I don't know the specifics of the call. I mean, it's very possible that we could notify block by block to come sit with her, to be with her. It's not something that's normally done by us. It would have to be kind of requested, that's maybe by the person
Even
calling.
if she doesn't even know block by block exists, that's another problem.
Typically when we get phone calls for something of that nature, it's more of a report type call for us. So block by block probably wouldn't be the one of the first things on our radar that needed to get done, unless, again, I don't know the details of the call or what happened on the phone, but if she said that she was feeling unsafe or needed somebody to be there, that could have been an option. It is possible, and our desk staff can call block by block, but I don't know what the breakdown occurred for that particular incident.
I mean, is this something you can look into the future, maybe suggesting to people, we have somebody that can stay with you for 2.5, 3 hours, while she's trying, she can't go outside because she has to go to work. She can't go outside because she doesn't know if the guy's there.
Right. I'm sure that's something we can definitely look at with partnering with Block by Block. I don't know that they would be able to spend 2-3 hours there. I'm sure when Shay comes up and speaks to you guys next, that maybe he could address that with the time of his staff. I really don't know that they could stay that long. However, we can definitely working with Block by Block to arrange things like that if a situation like that were to come up in the future.
Okay. Thank you. That's it.
All right, great. Commissioner Bob.
Just a quick follow-up, thank you. I was wondering, because I'm kind of new to this, if you could explain when the Sheriff's Department calls helicopters for support. Of recent, I've really noticed a lot of helicopter activity, and I'm not exactly personally aware of when it's deemed necessary to do that. I know there was an instance over on Olive where there was an armed suspect in a building, and so there was maybe a helicopter over there. I don't know if you can you help me understand when the Sheriff's Department calls for helicopter support?
Well, believe it or not, we call for helicopter support quite a bit, but we do share that helicopter service with numerous other areas within the county, so we don't get it here quite often. Lately, it seems like we have been having that support available to us because they have been here and we have gotten those complaints from the public. Some of the times when people are hearing those helicopters, it may not be us, it may not be the Sheriff's Department helicopter. We do have local media quite a bit that hovers overhead. LAPD also is pretty active with their helicopters, so it may not necessarily be us. When it comes to criteria for calling out a helicopter for our calls, it just varies, but typically something a little bit more in the serious nature, we might call out for a burglary that just occurred and somebody might still be in the area, an armed suspect, we're looking for somebody in the area, looking for a vehicle in the area. Usually involving in a felony crime typically is what we would have the helicopter respond for, because it is time consuming and it is something more of an important level. There recently was, I think it was near Olive, I don't think it was Olive for that helicopter call out that you're referring to, but it was for an armed suspect that was possibly in a building. and the helicopter was there for quite a bit of time, and we did receive quite a few calls about it. But the helicopter's response is invaluable to our deputies on the street. They can see and give a lot more information out than a person on foot on street level can. So they really are invaluable to us, and we definitely wouldn't have a helicopter there if it wasn't needed, because basically that operation of that helicopter is an expensive thing to do. So it isn't something like we're wasting resources by having it here just hovering around. When they are here, it is critical to our operations.
Okay, understood. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Commissioner Nichols, I believe you're next.
Thank you. Thank you, Sergeant Duran. So I did want to go back to the arrests that were made at Pride on June 3rd. So as has been mentioned, there's been a lot of coverage on social media, and there's been a lot of information that is incorrect. So I want to give you the opportunity to correct some things that you are able to speak to, if you are able to. I understand it's an ongoing investigation. The first thing is most concerning to me is that supposedly the police officers who made the arrest, who called it in, made homophobic comments at Pride to the person who was arrested. Can you speak to that?
It is an ongoing investigation. I can speak a little bit to it because I was there personally, and I can tell you with 100% certainty that nothing was said homophobic during that arrest.
Great, thank you. Also, a lot of people are saying that 3 people were arrested. I understand it was actually 2 people that were arrested, correct?
That's correct. I think there was some video that was circulating around social media that showed a third person being involved, and basically that person was a friend of the female that was arrested, and that friend accompanied her to the jail to kind of ease the process. So that person was not arrested or detained. That person went with us voluntarily to the station.
Which is unusual that they were able to do that and to calm the situation. It was a de-escalation that you allowed that person to do this, yes?
Yeah, very, very much so. That person was very helpful in, like you said, de-escalating the situation. It was a little bit tense out there, and that person volunteered to do that, and that isn't something that we would normally do, but we took that opportunity because we thought it would be best.
Yeah. I know that there have been changes in the charges, which you don't need to speak to, but it was originally a felony warrant that the arrest was made for, yes?
Correct.
So another thing, and again, Lieutenant Lapkin, you mentioned about public information officers coming on board, which is excellent news, which will certainly make all of this go a lot smoother, that they can put this info out there very, very quickly. But one of the other things is that it was a very violent arrest. You were there. How would you characterize it compared with other felony arrests?
I wouldn't characterize it as violent. I think the video that you may have seen could appear that way based on the narrative with the video, but when you look at it through body cam video that's through what we have access to that might be released at some point, I think you'll see that the violence aspect of it wasn't there. I will tell you that typically with felony suspect arrests, our protocol would be to detain somebody at gunpoint and have them do a felony prone situation out on a street or wherever it is where they're laying flat down with their arms out and there's deputy with guns drawn. That wasn't done in this instance to try to avoid any safety concerns because of the area and where it was. So there was some planning involved with this. It wasn't just a whim. And again, I wouldn't characterize it as violent when there's a review of things.
Right. And I will say that the next day there were certainly protesters, which we're all allowed to protest, absolutely, at the parade, which I was thankfully able to be on the float. And they were pretty rough. I mean, I know that your officers were helping to hold them back. Somebody broke through. They came at our float. It was a city float, and one of the other commissioners did hear. I mean, they called us effing Nazis, so I'm cleaning it up. I've been to lots of pride parades. I've been called a lot of things on both coasts for decades. Normally it's the Nazis calling me things. One other thing I did want to ask you about, thank you for explaining that a bit. There was a stabbing on the east side. I think it was the 18th of May, and there was an arrest made. I think it was at the Gateway Center. Is there any update? Is there any motive, anything that you can tell us about that?
I do believe there was an arrest made with that. I don't know the status of the charges with that arrest. I can just tell you that it was two people that knew each other in some type of relationship. And it did occur, and the person that was stabbed has been released from the hospital and has recovered from the basic injuries that they had.
Good. Thank you very much.
Commissioner Aramian.
Thank you, Chair Hallman. I apologize, you already spoke on this, but I just want to get a follow-up on the alleged allegations of a tenant on Laurel Avenue poisoning pets. I've gotten several emails. I invited the community to come speak on it today. What is the status on that? They know who is doing it. Is there a pending investigation? How are we going to mitigate it so it doesn't happen in the future? Any updates on that?
It is still a current and active investigation with our detective bureau. Our detectives, I believe today or yesterday, I'm not 100% sure which day it was, that they did speak to several people at the location that live there, and some people that were directed to them that may be involved in some type of way. So it is actively being investigated. I can't speak on the evidence as to what's there, but it is actively being investigated by our detectives as well as animal control.
Do you know if the landlord of the property was advised to put some cameras up so there could be some evidence of what's being done? Because as of now, I'm assuming it's just hearsay for now. There's no solid evidence that this individual is doing that. Is that a recommendation going to be done by the Sheriff's Department, or does that be a city of West Hollywood or something
absolutely.
like that?
We do recommendations. We don't do any type of mandates, anything like that. But when we do arrive at a location and there isn't video, or they don't have video systems, we do recommend that it is a good deterrent and it is a good crime fighting tool that we can use. So that is something we would definitely recommend, typically on calls where somebody's reporting something that was hard to prove.
Thank you.
Commissioner Harrison.
Thank you. Notwithstanding the float situation that was mentioned, which is fine, that's part of life and being in this position. When would you release body cam footage? Like, when do you make that determination? You mentioned it earlier, and I'm bringing it up because you raised it. When would you make that determination, especially given how high profile the incident was, and not making a determination, which, that is correct, obviously, I was there, but I'm just curious, what would be the determining factor for releasing that?
So that isn't typically made at our level here at the station. That would be something that our Sheriff's Information Bureau would do with some type of a release based on requests and whatnot. However, when it's still an active investigation, they tend not to release it quite yet. So I can't really give you a time frame, but it wouldn't be done through our station directly.
Thanks. Appreciate it.
Commissioners, any additional questions? Well, I just want to thank you. I think our Sheriff's Department did a great job during Pride. It was a large grid this year for you to control. Also being on the commissioner float, aside from seeing all of the great joy from everyone who is standing there and excited to celebrate Pride, you are more vulnerable. And I felt very safe. I know there was the incident at the end, but I never felt that I was in peril. So I just want to thank you. I know the hours were long.
They were, and we had a great team from Emergency Operations Bureau that provided additional deputies to staff the parade, and they did an excellent job in providing security for the parade and keeping that end of parade incident safe and orderly.
Yeah, so thank you. Commissioner Secretary, do we have any comments in chambers?
Yes, we have one in chambers. Kevin Burton, if you want to approach the podium, you'll have 3 minutes to speak.
Good evening, Commissioners. I'm Kevin
Kevin Burton, a resident of West Hollywood, and it's been a while since I spoke to the Public Safety Commission. A lot of new faces, and welcome Commissioners Aramian and Blau. I am here to speak today on behalf of the West Hollywood Bicycle Coalition. Several years ago, at our request, this commission worked with the Sheriff's Department to provide to the community data on the number of collisions between bicycles and pedestrians and vehicles on a monthly basis, which had not been provided before that time. And that data includes the date and the time and the location, assignment of fault by the responding deputies, as well as the California Vehicle Code or city ordinance that is contravened, on which assignment of fault is based. About a year ago or so, additional data has been provided to the Commission and the community in the form of the collisions between scooters and pedestrians, and that was alluded to briefly by Sergeant Duran. However, these reports are not nearly as complete as the reports on pedestrians and bicycle collisions with vehicles. And they don't include, for example, the time and the date and the vehicle code violations. And we would request that the reports of collisions between scooters and pedestrians, or scooters and vehicles, include all of the information that's provided about collisions between vehicles and pedestrians, vehicles and bicycles. Secondly, a second request. We are interested in the number of collisions between bicycles and pedestrians, scooters and pedestrians on sidewalks in West Hollywood. West Hollywood has an ordinance governing this for bicycles. State law governs collisions between scooters and pedestrians on sidewalks. We are going to work with the city to try and update the ordinance that applies to bicycles, and we would greatly appreciate if the Sheriff's Department could give to us the number of citations made to either scooters or bicycles related to collisions with pedestrians on sidewalks in West Hollywood. For the last 2 or 3 years, that would be grateful. That would be very helpful to us in the community, and we are hopeful that the Commission will support these requests. Thank you.
Thank you. Commission Secretary, do we have any more comments in chambers?
We may have one comment in Zoom. We'll check that now.
Thank you.
Yeah, and the phone number ending with the last 4 digits of 5307, if you can please press *6 to unmute yourself if you wish to speak at this time. Again, please press *6 and you can state your name and you'll have 3 minutes to speak.
Hi, good evening. Are we connected?
Yes, we can hear you.
Hi, thank you. It's Lynn Russell calling. I just tuned into the meeting briefly and happened to hear the comment from Commissioner Freiberg about the woman that called the sheriff's station for assistance during what I believe she perceived as a rather threatening situation. I was actually rather astonished at the answer she received from Sergeant Duran. And what was even more astonishing about it was that there doesn't seem to be any protocol for coordination between what has been sold to the residents as some sort of an interim protective layer for the residents of West Hollywood in the block-by-block individuals. When I had a serious situation years ago with a homeless man jumping out of my 6th floor fire escape to my front door, I put in a call to the sheriff's station, and a very, very attentive Deputy Reynolds, who was on the cops team, handled it from start to finish, including having the, it got very involved, but including having the building manager literally evicted from the building because of his lack of due diligence in leaving various outer doors open. But it really struck me, not only because of my own personal experience, but the fact that there's no protocol in place, and this block-by-block team or teams has been the subject of discussion for quite some time. So I would really encourage Sergeant Duran to evidence a much better solution to that and make it known to the residents as to what the protocol is for various types of engagement. I think people would have a much better sense of peace of mind. So thank you so much. I appreciate your time.
Chair, that's the last speaker we have.
Last speaker. Any additional commissioner comments for Sergeant Duran before we move on? All right, thank you, Sergeant Duran. And again, welcome back, Lieutenant Lapkin. Next on our agenda, item 9C, report from our block-by-block security, given by Shay Gibson.
Local. Shay Gibson, Operations Manager for the Security Ambassadors, West Hollywood.
Mr. Gibson, we're having a hard time hearing you.
I'm sorry, I'm very sorry.
No one wants to lean in this evening. I don't know what the issue is.
I was going to complain about it too.
I'm sorry about that. So I'm just going to give a quick, brief report of some of the things that we were doing or involved in as far as the month of May goes. So of course, we had our semi-annual community safety update that was brought to City Council on May 15th. My RVP reported out stats from the past 6 months, from October 1st, 2022, all the way through April 30th, 2023. I had a very interesting and I would say more of a fun time with the walk around with Commissioner Nickel. We did discuss various topics, and I think that, well, I hope that I answered your questions as best as I could and kind of satisfied some of the things that you wanted to know. But I did appreciate your time, so thank you for that. Also, we do have several new faces, so we have hired quite a few new people and been conducting our trainings with them. Of course, that will continue on. They should be coming out of their training phase shortly. It does take about a good solid 30 days. And then preparing for our 3-day Pride event, which I feel we were tasked with supplying support for code enforcement and also for the Sheriff Department as far as addressing vendors and different things of that nature. I think it went well. There were some moments where it did feel a little overwhelming, but I think we handled things well. I think Pride went well. I was out there myself, so I did enjoy it, and I hope you all enjoyed it as well. And that really concludes my report, and ready for any questions. Thank you.
Commissioners, do we have any questions? No questions? Oh, all right. Commissioner Saltzman, thank you.
Thank you, Chair. In your report, toward the back, there's information about response times.
Yes.
And I just was curious, some of them are very good, 0 minutes, 9 minutes, 10 minutes. Some of them are not so good, closer to half hour or longer. And I'm just curious if you could talk about that a little bit.
Yes, I don't have that information in front of me right now, but I wouldn't be able to tell you exactly what what would seem to be the lag in response time was exactly, but we were able to keep the situation under control until the sheriffs did get there, though.
I'm not sure I understand.
So I wouldn't be able to speak to why it took that amount of time for the sheriffs to reach us in particular, but...
So that's the response time that is from the sheriff response to your, after you've been...
Correct. I'm sorry if that's what you're asking. So yeah, so what we do is we will place a call to the sheriffs, and then we will stand by until the sheriffs get there. So we record the time that we placed the call and the time that they arrived.
Thank you. So my question is really for the sheriff's department. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Okay, I'm sorry.
No, thank you.
Commissioner Nichols.
Yes. Now, Mr. Gibson, thank you for the walk along. I really appreciated it, and you really did answer a lot of my questions. And I think it was Elizabeth who was with us.
Yes.
Who's been with you guys for quite a long time. Yes.
That's correct. Yes.
Yeah. One of the things that happened is we were walking scooters. There were just scooters around, and we talked a little bit about it. That, of course, you can't do anything. You don't issue tickets when people are riding on the sidewalk where they're not supposed to be riding. But sometimes you guys do call people out. I mean, they go by fast. You can't chase them down or anything. But you do that. You do point it out. Whether they listen, that doesn't always happen, correct?
This is correct. We do try our best to get people to slow down, and it is a mounting task.
Yeah, one time I think that we sort of had to move out of the way
Yes.
because one was moving pretty fast. So on your report, it did say something about the scooter improper parking.
Mm-hmm.
So you mentioned that that's one of the things that the security ambassadors do. You call that in. When you see scooters around, they can call it in and have it moved? Did I remember that correctly?
Well, what we typically do is that if the scooter is blocking the passageway or the right of way, we will try to physically remove the scooter ourselves so that we clear the right of way.
So when it mentions these incidents, the scooter improper parking, it's that it was
Yes.
blocking the way, and you guys had to take time out of your day to move the scooters.
Correct. I mean, we are on patrol anyway, but I mean, it kind of works out. Yes.
Got it. Okay, I think those were the main things for me.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Commission Secretary, do we have any public questions?
We have no comments in chambers on this item.
And, we're on a lag today for some reason.
Late on the button.
Yeah, for some reason it's coming up slow, but please go ahead, Commissioner.
Can't be me, could it? Thank you for your presentation. So when you count unhoused residents, is it possible that someone could be counted more than once?
It is.
Yeah?
It is.
Okay. And do you visit senior buildings? Have you introduced yourself to the buildings in our city with the senior residents?
It's been a while. I've been here now 6 years, so it's those things were kind of happening at the beginning of my tenure. So
6 years ago?
Well, I'm not going to say put it that far. That's just how long I've been here. So maybe I would say like 4 years ago, at least.
Okay. Do you have any plans on revisiting that?
I do now, yes.
Okay, thank you. Do you also have sensitivity training for people with disabilities? I'm not just talking about mental, physical disabilities.
Yes.
Okay. Now back to, were you here when I was talking about my friend in my building that had the incident? So I actually told her about block by block. So she ended up calling you guys, and she thought it was amazing. She said they were so professional, so caring. Everything they said was like, whatever you need, we'll be there, we'll help you, because she was coming home for work. She was afraid to come home for work that day. Awesome. Because she didn't want to press charges because she was terrified. Because she knew, if he could do that, what if he takes that a step further? Correct. So she set up a time to meet with an ambassador. She got dropped off way away from her home, and he walked her home. And she said that she never felt so safe in her life. She appreciated every moment of it, and she wanted me to thank you so much for the job that you are doing. you know, when you're a woman walking around at night or you have an incident like that, it is so terrifying, you know? And I know it's hard to put yourself in the body of a 5'3" girl walking down the street at night, but you know, we're always on the lookout. So to have you guys there and to have some deterrent, to have someone to run to, have someone to walk you home, you know, someone to identify a suspect. She didn't get the license plate. She wasn't thinking, you know, she was terrified. So I just really want to thank you for the work that you're doing, your ambassadors, and the professionalism that they have. And I really hope that you really do start really promoting who you guys are, why you're there, introduce yourself, you know, even as far as you can get. And I wish the city would maybe send out a flyer or something out there to all our residents and let them know about you. Because it's, you know, when I go on my walks, I see 3 or 4 of you out there. And I'm so happy to see that. You know, it makes me feel so safe. So I just wanted to thank you. And I do thank the sheriff too. I'm not leaving you out. But I just, you know, you're doing great work. So thank you.
Thank you very much. I truly appreciate it, and I'm sure the teams appreciate it as well.
And I do want to bring up the fact that the sheriffs didn't call you. Should they have called you to sit with her? Why they didn't
I don't
know
know
when
if
she was
that
coming.
would be necessarily the case. What we could have done, though, is came out and provided a safety escort for her. We wouldn't necessarily be able to go onto private property and sit for 2 and 3 hours.
Right, I'm not asking someone to go sit and hold
Right,
her
but
hand.
we definitely
in her,
could have responded
you know.
and gave her an escort or tried to make her feel safe or anything like that.
Yeah, because
So
I
the-
mean, she was on her way out to work. She couldn't go to work until
Yeah, we definitely
somebody
could've-
arrived.
Yeah, we definitely could have came over and nothing to the sheriffs. It's just that
Right.
you know, if she has our number, which I hope that she does, please definitely.
She does
give-
now.
Okay, cool. So please definitely give us a call and we'll do everything that we can.
Okay, I'm, you know, just like one of the caller had said, I'm really upset that there was this gap. You know, I mean, you're here for a reason, and I think, you know, it would have been nice to just make a resident feel safe. So, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Commissioners, since I seem to be having a lag here with my system, any other questions for Mr. Gibson? No? All right, thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. You all have a blessed day.
Chair, it looks like we have a phone number that hopped on Zoom. So I don't know if maybe we can just switch over just to see whether or not there'd be a
All
public
right,
comment.
hold that thought. Is it for block by block? Do we know?
I don't know, but I'm assuming. I believe the number called in before during the sheriff's report. Can we switch over to Zoom? Thank you so much. If the phone number ending with the digits of 5307 would like to speak and comment at this time, please state your name, and you would have 3 minutes to speak.
Hi, thank you so much. Yes, this is Lynn Russell again. I just got on this line to comment at the end with public comments, but I'm happy to make it now because it actually connects with block by block, as my previous comments were stated. The one point that I really neglected to make in any of these interactions is the sense of there doesn't ever seem to be a sense of immediacy in a situation like this. And when things happen to this extent, they get lost in the bureaucratic turnaround. And then it's just follow up, and then nobody's really sensitive, or not many people are sensitive to the situation. But along with qualifications for somebody's job, it would be really important that people exercise a sense of immediacy and had all of the opportunities and choices and protocols that they could rely on. Otherwise, people seem to be falsely dependent on people to be aiding them or tending to a situation when it comes up. And that, I think that's a really important aspect. So if you would consider that along with my other comments, that would be appreciated. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Lynn. Chair, that's the last speaker we have in Zoom.
Okay, great. Thank you. Item 10 on our agenda are items from staff. Are there any updates from
Yes,
staff
there
this
is.
evening?
Yes, thank you, Chair, and good evening, Public Safety Commissioners. And first and foremost, congratulations to the newly sworn commissioners, and welcome to the team. For those who are unaware, I'm Danny Rivas. I'm the Director of Community Safety for the City of West Hollywood. And one of the many roles that myself and actually my coworker Jessica provide is to support the commission. But if there are any public safety related requests, inquiries, et cetera, I know that commissioners, public safety will definitely be reached out to by the community, even if it isn't your neighbors, and it could be somebody that you've never had contact before, but now your names are certainly out there and are being broadcast with every monthly meeting. So if there's things that come up related to our West Hollywood Sheriff Station, our Los Angeles County Fire Department, our block by block security ambassador program, our code enforcement program, and even if it has to do with other divisions or departments and functions, that is my priority and my role as the liaison to the Public Safety Commission to make sure that I'm able to field those questions and those inquiries and provide any guidance that I can. So I just wanted to make mention of that. And I do have a couple of updates. I do want to thank, I know our Assistant Fire Chief, Drew Smith, had to leave and attend another meeting, but I wanted to thank all of our public safety partners for the great work that they did during Pride. I know some of which, or maybe all of you, were able to participate in, but it was clearly a successful and safe event, and there was a lot of work that was put into that from all of our public safety partners. We certainly had folks involved doing increased foot patrols and making sure that the medical tents and emergency services were there in place and that we were well prepared. So I'm happy to hear that many of you took part in that and enjoyed yourselves, as well as members of the community as well. And know as well that city staff also worked from a variety of different departments. The list is extensive, but I want to thank all of our city staff as well for everybody that put a lot of time and a lot of effort into achieving the success of Pride. We are looking ahead at the calendar for Halloween, and so similar to Pride, we certainly start those conversations internally early on in terms of, again, just coordinating and looking at what is going to be needed from the community, what is going to be needed from our public safety partners as well, and then providing those folks, our partners, with the resources that they need to be successful and to keep our community safe. I did also want to make mention that for our next commission meeting, staff does plan on bringing an item that's focused around going over and presenting the Public Safety Commission bylaws. There were some changes that were made, and I know our chair several months ago with the previous commission was able to participate with staff actually presenting and going over that, and I think we heard a lot of great and constructive and positive feedback from the commission. So I think this is a great opportunity now that we have a relatively new commission in place, and super excited to work with all of you, and that we would be able to kind of go over that, answer any questions that the commission may have, and then in addition to that, go over the Public Safety Commission purview, what's included in the West Hollywood Municipal Code, and then following that, establishing work plan for the Public Safety Commission, as it will be the beginning of the fiscal year. So for us here at West Hollywood and all of local governments, we operate from July 1st to June 30th. So we are getting near wrapping up the end of this fiscal year for West Hollywood. And so as we look ahead, it's important for the commission to set those work plan goals as a group, After looking at the bylaws and looking at the purview of the Public Safety Commission and answering any questions at that time. In addition to that, we will have our city clerk that will be participating at our next commission meeting, as we will have as all the rest of the commissions and advisory boards in the city, establishing an item in regards to the chair and vice chair of the Public Safety Commission. So Melissa Crowder, our city clerk, will be participating in that meeting at that time as well. And then as I'm just looking at my notes here, I also just wanted to make mention that one of the things that Lieutenant Lapkin and Sergeant Duran are going to be looking into, and I believe Sergeant Duran had mentioned that at the last commission meeting, is really kind of focusing on maybe bringing in some representatives from the Sheriff's Department and our different bureaus to provide some updates and information to the commission. There's a lot to unpack when it comes to our public safety contracts and the great work that everybody does. And so any ability that we may have an opportunity to get in front of the commission, to have different folks, even if it's from fire, as well as block by block and some of our other programs, that is something that we're certainly going to be looking to. So maybe we can work that out as a part of the work plan as well. And then just lastly, as I'm looking at my notes here, I went through everything, got ahead of myself. So again, just thank you all and look forward to working with everybody. And I'm available for any questions.
Any questions for Director Rivas before we move on?
When it comes to adding items to the work plan, I assume we'll do that via motion?
Yes, and you know what, thank you, Commissioner, for bringing that up. And yeah, that is a great point. So yes, if commissioners do wish to place items on the agenda for discussion, then that would be an opportunity for that to be done during items from commissioners. And then if there is a consensus from the majority of the commission, then that item can be placed on the next month's agenda. Or if there's information that needs to be gathered as a part of that item, you know, sometimes that might take a little longer, but yeah, we'll certainly be looking at that. But thank you for asking that question. So that would be the process involved, as opposed to discussing certain topics during a public safety commission that's not been agendized.
Thank you, Director Rivas.
Any additional questions for Director Rivas?
I just wanted to know, are we going to have a work plan soon? Like an actual printout of every month what we're going to be going over?
Yeah, so that's what we plan on doing next month, is really going over, we'll have what we've used, kind of a template that we've used in the past, but really allowing you all now as the new Public Safety Commission to really set that, what that would be under those certain areas, and then establishing certain timeframes within that would be the goal of the next meeting.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
All right, thank you, Director Rivas. Commission Secretary, do we have any public comments at this time?
We do have one public comment. If we can have Cesar Barrios come to the podium, please. You'll have 3 minutes to speak.
Adam, congratulations on your position. Brandon, welcome, congratulations. Sorry. A few things that I just wanted to discuss. If you guys could also look into creating a community service officer position. Cities like Santa Fe Springs, Santa Monica, Beverly Hills have that. That would help the sheriffs on maybe taking a lot of their workload on taking reports out there in the field. I mean, be non-sworn positions for the sheriffs. Public information officer or for fire. I know you guys created those two positions for the sheriffs. How about creating those positions for fire and getting information out there to the residents of West Hollywood? Also, I've noticed that McCormick responds from outside the city limits. McCormick's an ambulance provider by the county. If you guys could also maybe look into maybe why they're responding from outside the city limits. I know the city of Santa Monica has McCormick, and they're within the city limits. McCormick responds from like Highland and Melrose area. So, I mean, it could lower response time. And something that could help the city and sheriffs, creating a database for security cameras like the city of Palm Springs. And their police department has a database of residents and business owners that has a database of cameras. Should a crime or something occur, they could always go back to that database and contact those individuals to see if any footage that could help them out with investigations. That's all I have.
Thank you. Now moving on to our shifted item, Commissioner comments. Before I call on commissioners, I would like to start and say that I was very proud to represent the city as Chair of Public Safety on the Commissioner float for the WeHo Parade, along with Commissioner Nichols. We had a great time. We had great music. And also, I was asked to do the LA Pride Parade. And there's no greater joy than seeing how excited everyone is to celebrate Pride. These are very strained and difficult times for our community. And I think it's very important that we have this opportunity to celebrate Pride. And the reception in the LA Pride Parade of the WeHo float is overwhelming. So that's great. And also, I would like to second what Director Rivas said. To coin a phrase, it does take a village to pull this feat off. The Sheriff's Department, code enforcement, block by block, city staff, fire, and I hope I'm not omitting anyone. I know many of you. I ran into many of you numerous times throughout the weekend. I just want to thank you because, again, it was a large footprint, a massive undertaking. I think everyone did an exceptional job, and I hope it's even larger next year. Commissioners, comments? Go ahead, Commissioner Hurd.
I just want to echo exactly what you said. I felt extremely safe. I think in light of DHS, warnings and everything else that we were hearing in the weeks leading up to Pride, I felt incredibly safe throughout. So I just want to thank everyone for their help. And it was great to spend time with fellow commissioners riding on a float down the street. So thanks, everyone.
Commissioner Nichols.
Yeah, same thing. It was an amazing experience, and it went off without a hitch. And I'm sure that it's only because there was a lot of hard work that we didn't even notice, which is the point. Weren't even aware of it in the background. So I just wanted to say, yeah, there was a lot of love out there.
Thank you. Commissioner Saltzman.
Thank you. Thank you. I had the same reaction of feeling safe, being impressed with the level of security and the smart aspects of it, how things were done, and thank all the partners for that. I do want to provide a little information in addition to some things that I've been doing, as you did, Chair. I had a good meeting with Captain Mulder, learned from him his perspective on some of the staffing issues and how the commission can be helpful and productive, and thought that was a very helpful meeting for me. The morning of the Pride Parade here in West Hollywood, there was a reception in the Sheriff's Station for LGBTQ plus law enforcement. It was a great turnout. I was happy to attend. The sheriff himself was there, Sheriff Luna, Captain Mulder was there, representatives from the LAPD, the FBI, and other agencies. And then that group proceeded to march in the parade as out LGBT members of law enforcement. And I commend the Sheriff's Department for that effort in helping bring it about. had the opportunity to meet with Sheriff's Department Sergeant Keith Ho, who is the sheriff's liaison to the LGBTQ+ community, when he was in West Hollywood for a training, and learned some of the things he's working on and shared some concerns with him. I continue to serve on the Community Advisory Board at USC for the Department of Public Safety. It's a group that the president of USC set up to advise her about rethinking public safety at the university, and I'm happy to be doing that. And then there are a couple issues I wanted to raise, and I'm not sure if this is the right time to do that. You can direct me. Issues that I'd like to either get on our agenda or get into the monthly reports if my fellow commissioners think it's a good idea. So 2 requests for Sergeant Duran. In the monthly reports, whether we could have information about response times, and also about complaints. So those are things that I think would be interesting to us if we're able to see that information. And I also wanted to just commend Lieutenant Lapkin on the effort that's ongoing on the social media and encourage you to do that as quickly as you can. I receive real-time communication from Beverly Hills PD, LAPD, and I would think the sheriff should be able to do the same thing. And for the size of our community, I think it could be very valuable for people to know what's happening in real time when that's appropriate. So I encourage those things as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Blau.
Thank you, Chair. I just want to say as well, first off, thank you to the warm welcome I've gotten from my commissioners both today and a couple weeks ago at Pride, as well from staff for all the help getting me spun up, and from our community safety partners. As well, thank you, Sergeant Duran, Lieutenant Lapkin, Shay Gibson, he might have left, and then Drew Smith has already left. So thank you all for the work that you've done and continue to do for our community. Let's take a look. Regarding the comment about having a database of residents and businesses with cameras, I was under the impression that we had a sort of program like that going on where we partnered with businesses to do something similar to that. Am I thinking incorrectly, Director Rivas?
No, so there is an initiative that's pending that came from the City Council to look into something such as what you just described and what the member of the public mentioned. We have looked at actually the city of Palm Springs, and they do have a business registry. It's voluntary, so if folks do want to take advantage of that. So it is something that actually we planned on looking into to potentially incorporate in terms of fulfilling that initiative for the City Council. But there is currently nothing in place at this time. If there is an incident that does occur, then the West Hollywood Sheriff Station deputies and or detectives do make contact with the business or the businesses in that area to try to retrieve footage.
Understood, thank you. Yeah, that's all I've got. Thank you all.
All right, thank you. Commissioner Freiberg.
Well, since I had this item moved, I feel pressure to talk. I wanted to congratulate both of our new commissioners to our commission. It's good to see you. Good to have a full commission. Danny, I do want to talk about getting block by block promoted. Maybe next month you can come back and tell us how you're doing that, how you're helping them out. And I do hope that Sergeant Duran, that you do come back with something, some kind of answer to bridge that gap. I don't want that to ever happen to another resident. And it's such an easy fix. So I hope next time you're here, you can speak a little bit more about how that gap is bridged. And thank you. Thank you for all you did during Pride, too. I mean, it was a great event. Everyone felt safe. There was, you know, just everybody had a good time. And I know you had a good time because I saw you. but on the front of the float. But so that was it. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Commissioners, any other comments?
It definitely is lagging.
We really are lagging, yeah. Go ahead.
Thank you, Chair. I just want to thank Mayor Pro Tem Erickson for swearing me in today. I am looking forward to this endeavor with my fellow commissioners. I believe West Hollywood is an amazing city. I've been a resident of West Hollywood for over 20 years. I live and work here. It's just a beautiful city. And I know with a great commission like this, we're going to make it even better. So I look forward to working with each and every one of you. And I look forward to hearing from the community. I welcome everyone from the community to come speak up at our meetings. If you see something, say something, let us know. And thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Before we adjourn, once again, welcome to our full commission. I'm the old dude here. And I'm very excited to work with you. I think we have an incredible commission, so I'm looking forward to us doing some good work on behalf of the city of West Hollywood. You know, we are advocates for all residents, each and every one of them. So welcome to everyone. It is 7:40. Do not get used to this. I don't think we've ever adjourned this early before. The 10 p.m. times will come, so bring your blankie. So with that being said, we are adjourned until July 10th. Good night. Thank you, everyone.